So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Increase Profitability of Your Fleet. As you know, my name is Suhail Masri, and I will be your moderator. As you know, I work at Tendered as a general manager for Saudi Arabia, and I'm really excited to be hosting this session today, especially that we have a big number of attendees and from all around the world, by the way. Thank you for joining us. I can see registrations from US, from UK, from India, from Kuwait, in addition to KSA and UAE, of course. As you know, Tendered is a heavy equipment rental marketplace, a technology company, and our technology supports the rental activities of companies who rent in or rent out their equipment. So we use technology to enable the entire supply chain from A to Z. So anyone who attends recent construction conferences or programs gets the following takeaways. The first one is construction work is on an upswing. So there is an increasing trend of the construction work. Second, equipment rental is expected to expand approximately 30 to 40% over the next couple of years. And the third one, that more dealers are getting into the equipment rental business. And the fourth takeaway that everyone might get from any construction conference is that contractors, they said in a survey done by Associated Equipment Distributors Convention and the American Rental Association, that at least 40 to 45% of the contractors plan to rent as much as they did last year, and 37% said that they will rent more during next year. I'm sure that these numbers are maybe affected by COVID, but at least we all know that the trend is positive and towards, an increasing trend. So the question that I would like to ask, what is driving rental as more popular choice? So I believe it is the cash flow, first point. And second point, I believe that it is the shifting the risk from ownership to usership. This is the second also reason for, the drive for the rental more than as a popular choice for companies. So if you ask any rental company at any size, what is the one thing that they want more than anything else? They would answer profit. And no matter what you rent, if you rent heavy equipment or light equipment or party equipment, so the objective is to maximize your rental revenue as a priority. And this is actually our topic for today. And we are here to discuss how we can increase the profitability and the revenue of your fleet. And it's my pleasure to welcome our esteemed panelists. Today, Mr. Yonas Tecle, he is the head of operations at Tendered. Mr. Philippe Dupin is the general manager at Mobil. I hope that I said Dupin correctly. Perfect. And Mr. Muhammad Amin Zammam, he's the branch manager in Dubai for TUV-SAD. So I would also like to welcome our media partners who will cover today's webinar. So the first one is the Middle East Construction News.com. Actually, they have covered us in the past, and I'm happy to have them again today to cover our webinar today. And the second one is the Construction Machinery Middle East. Thank you for having you with us today. Before I hand the mic over to Yonas, I have a couple of housekeeping items to cover about this webinar. First, today's webinar is recorded and it will be shared with you after the webinar in the email. Also, we would love to hear from you during the session. So please, if you have questions for the panelists, please feel free to send that through the Q&A tab section there on the on the webinar site. We will be also answering the questions at the end of the session, after taking the three presentation. And if we don't get to your question during today's webinar, we will be sure to follow up with you afterward. Remember, as I mentioned in my previous webinar, that again, there will be a raffle on iPhone 11. So we will be announcing the winners for the iPhone after of course, this webinar. Please, I mean, we wish you all great luck to have, to win this iPhone. Also, all webinar attendees will receive a digital goodie bag from Tendered. And along with that, there is a discount voucher for inspection done by 2UV SUD. Thank you. And as a courtesy from Mobil, we will pick lucky winners to receive lubricant and engine oil products. And plus our media partners will also have goodies planned. So stay tuned, and we will announce that after the webinar. So without any further ado, I would like to kick off this session by welcoming Mr. Yonas. Yonas, he's the head of operations at Tendered. So Yonas, over to you.
Thank you, Suhail, and good afternoon, everybody. As Suhail mentioned, my name is Yonas. I'm head of operations here at Tendered. I'm a civil engineer, and over the past 15 years, I worked in infrastructure projects, building dams, roads, bridges, and waterways back in Eritrea and here in UAE until I joined Tendered. When I joined Tendered, I'm one of the founding members of Tendered here in UAE. Let me share my screen and let me know, Suhail, when my screen is visible, please.
Yes, we can see your screen. You can go ahead.
Tendered is a heavy equipment rental marketplace that offers a reliable and secure way for general contractors to rent in, rent out, and manage construction equipment. Over the past few years, we have worked with hundreds and hundreds of contractors and suppliers here in UAE and Saudi from our fleet network of over 7,000 machines that include yellow plant, fleet equipment, lifting equipment, light equipment, and trucks. Our goal as Tendered is to make it simple to manage heavy equipment fleet by digitizing the most time-consuming steps in the construction market. Just to talk about the construction equipment industry, equipment is a vital part of projects, and it ranges between 10% in civil structure. The total it gets 10% of the total cost of the project, and when it comes to earthworks, it goes to 80% of the total project cost. And by 2026, the global equipment rental market is expected to grow to $175 billion US. This growth is driven by growing trend towards rentals and digitization. How has the equipment industry been affected recently? Over the past 3 to 4 months, the global market has taken a hit due to COVID-19, but thankfully, it is recovering gradually. During this recovery period, and specifically for contractors, have it made them think to change the way they conduct business. With that in mind, we went out and asked contractors, with the current economic climate, do you expect to move your business towards an asset-light model? That is, renting more instead of buying equipment. The answer that we got to questionnaires was a resounding 75% yes. Yes, more contractors are renting instead of buying based on their project requirements. When the trend for contractors is towards rental instead of buying, are equipment owners getting profitable? When we are thinking about profitability, we are thinking about your existing fleet profitability, which is the existing fleet that you own currently, and your future fleet profitability when you buy and expand your business. Let us take the first one, profitability of your existing fleet. To maximize your profitability, all you have to do is return per month of the equipment and how much the equipment has worked during the year. Just maximizing these two parameters will give you more profitability. Recently, I talked to a couple of suppliers, just top of your head, what was your utilization during the past year? And the answer that I got was 90%, 85%, and 80%. When I pushed it back a little bit, they reduced the numbers. But when we see at the actual data, the average utilization rate of equipment in the market is 65%. With this utilization rate, an equipment owner that owns, say, 10 equipment bulldozers would lose a profit of 750,000. And that's just one equipment owner. The question is, how do we increase the utilization rate of our equipment? The two critical parts of increasing utilization of the fleet is to maintain the quality of your equipment by doing preventative maintenances and to get access to more jobs. Let us dive in short, to do preventive maintenance. These are the prescribed and easy parts of preventive maintenance, which everybody knows. But these are vitally critical in increasing the lifetime of your equipment, which increases utilization. The data shows the average lifetime of equipment is between 6 and 15 years. What makes some equipments almost die at 6 years and others work fine for 15 years? So just simply doing one of these trivial looking activities, air filter cleaning, greasing, would increase the lifetime of your equipment. When you increase the lifetime of your equipment, you are increasing the utilization rate of your equipment. How do we measure utilization? The best and easiest way to measure utilization is using telematics. Telematics will not only give you geolocation, but accurately measure the utilization rate of your equipment. In addition to that, it will also give you predictive maintenance alerts, so you can take action before the machine gets breakdown. To dive into more technical discussions into maintenances and telematics, we have arranged a separate free workshop with our amazing technical manager, Roger, a 30-year veteran in equipment maintenance. He was ex-Aramco manager, and he has worked with almost all of the equipment manufacturing around the region. So to get registered, go to tender.co/maintenance workshop. And that is about equipment maintenance and increasing the lifetime of your equipment. Now you need jobs, more jobs. How do you get access to more jobs? The best way to do it is going digital. No matter how experienced you are, and no matter how connected you may be, your access to more jobs is always limited by those connections. When you go digital, that increases the visibility of your fleet to thousands of potential clients by simply marketing your fleet online. The suppliers who have worked with us, have gone digital, have seen an increased job coming their way. This is a picture that we have taken from last year's supplier award. Those suppliers and hundreds more have had access to 120 million worth of business just in the last few months by just being part of Tendered Fleet Manager app. How do new equipment owners get access to Tendered Fleet? Simply download the app on App Store or Google Play and get registered using your mobile number or email ID. At this point, you are an unverified equipment supplier. To get verified, all you need is submit legal documents. And once you submit those legal documents, I will show you a little demo on how to get verified on the app itself. So go to the settings page, scroll down to the bottom, either upload image or take photo of your legal documents, that's trade license, VAT, and the fleet list, so we know that the machine that you are enlisting on the marketplace is actually owned by you. Once you upload and submit, it will take 24 to 48 hours to verify you as a verified supplier. Once you do that, you need to update your fleet to be more visible. To update your fleet, go to the machine's dashboard and find out the equipment you want to update. Click on the equipment and either take photo, clear photo, or update all the documents that are related to that equipment and simply update it. Once you update the equipment, you will have an enriched data on the marketplace. The last point is updating your prices, current prices, and availability. To do that on the machine's dashboard, find an equipment that you want to make visible, just toggle it available for hire. The next equipment was available yesterday, but today it's not available, so just toggle it not available. To update price, simply click on the machine, update your winning price, monthly, weekly, or daily, or any other comments that you might want, and then simply update the machine price. And now you have gone digital. Now contractors can pick up your equipment and give you more jobs because your machine has become as part of the online community in the marketplace. Now we have gone through maintenances, which will increase the number of years of your useful equipment. And we have talked about access to more jobs by digitization, which increases your utilization. The combined effect of both is what will give your current fleet, the fleet that you own currently, more profitable. What if you want to expand and buy more equipment? What will your decision be based on? Will you go out there and buy an equipment because it's cheap from the resale markets out there? Would that make you profitable in the future? Or would you study the demand and supply and make your purchase decisions based on data? As a technology company, what we do best is collect and analyze data. Based on this data, I can show you a segment of the data as illustrative as it can be. And you can see from this illustration that the highest in demand are trucks, excavators, and skid steel loaders. Because they are high in demand, would you go out and buy them? Or would you look at what is the supply during this period? When you look at the supply, your decision-making becomes much better. Because for equipment owners to be profitable in the future, all they have to do is buy the equipment when there is a supply deficit in relation to the demand in the market. And I can show you a lot, and we can go one by one through each individual type of equipment and parse the data on the demand, supply, and deficit. But we don't have time in this webinar, but we'd be more than happy to share this information for equipment owners who want to expand and buy more equipment from the market. And we can guarantee if your purchasing decisions is based on good data, your utilization rate will be high, and we can give you that guarantee. And we are happy to share this information with you. And if you like to contact us, you can contact us in UAE, you can contact myself, and in KSA, you can contact Suhail Masri. With that, thank you all very much, and back to you, Suhail.
Thank you, Yonas, and thanks for the valuable information you shared with us. I have already a couple of questions that we will take towards the end of the session. So now I would like to welcome Mr. Philippe Dupin. Mr. Philippe, over to you.
Thank you, Suhail. Good afternoon to all. My name is Philippe Dupin. I am the General Manager of EMA Lubricant. It is a local joint venture of Mobil in the UAE, blending, distributing, marketing, and selling Mobil branded lubricants to the UAE. A bit about myself. I've been at the company for 32 years, mostly selling lubricants in the commercial segment, B2B, as we say. Different geography, Europe, Africa, and most recently in the Middle East. It's my pleasure today to present you a few slides on what the subject of today, the topic is about optimizing lubrication and providing some on-site service solution. I think it's very much linked to what you said, Yonas, before. I think it makes a lot of sense, to present this kind of a concept. Let's move back to reality, back to today, challenges. I think it's very obvious that we're all facing big challenges at the moment. And I think it's a good time to think maybe how we could do something new. We're all facing, obviously, CapEx, OpEx challenges. We need to limit the investments. We need to reduce cost. I don't think there's so many companies, in the current environment that can afford reducing OPEX and CAPEX. At the same time, we know maintenance. Maintenance, you said, Yonas, yes, your maintenance is very important, for the lifetime of equipment. That is always, for fleet owners, fleet operators, we believe a kind of a pain in the neck. It's always something that, costs money. It's not easy to manage. And we believe, as Mobil, we believe there's a lot of room for improvement. So this is where we believe that optimizing maintenance costs might be a good way for you to reduce OPEX. Last but not least, digital. Yes, we have digital transformation around you. It's obvious. But I think, digital is not only something nice. It's something that we should, I think, use more and more to streamline processes, make sure that we do, activities and we do the right things at the right time, and use digital as a way of getting more efficient and having safer operations. Having said that, how Mobil and how we can contribute, to increase your ambition regarding fleet productivity. In fact, we have been combining the expertise of two companies, and you can see it now on the slide. Obviously, Mobil, ourselves, and a local service provider called Masa Solution. Maybe you know Masa. Masa is a very well-known company, in the UAE, providing what we call fleet management. So we believe that combining the expertise and the technology of both companies in terms of, is a great way, a great avenue to provide potentially some good solution and some good room for improvement and reducing your maintenance costs. How we are going to do that? What we would like to do is to propose what we call on-site solutions, service solutions. So we'll come on sites with obviously service vans, and we'll perform a job. But before doing that, we'll obviously through tender, and this is kind of how we're going to do that. First of all, what is important for us on the Mobil side is to assess your fleet profile and make sure that we recommend the most suitable product for your equipment. It does not mean the most expensive product. It has to be linked to the equipment, obviously the compartment, has to be linked to the age of the equipment, and more important, maybe the type of operation that the equipment is running. We do that through a digital, what we call a digital service book, which is, on a permanent basis, updated in terms of obviously new equipment or retired equipment. This tool is used by Masa as a second step to define the best service package for oil and filter change, but also, I think you mentioned, Yonas, there's a series of activities around, this kind of service. What we will do, we'll have a well-defined, standard operating procedure, what we call SOP, that will give you exactly what the jobs will be performed in that package. And it will be agreed at a scheduled time with you. Down the road, leveraging the presence of the ground, next to the equipment on a regular basis, we believe there's a lot of value to inspect the equipment on a regular basis. I think those regular inspection will provide us a chance to see if there's any potential damage or breakdown coming, and potentially, obviously, on your request, making additional service to the equipment. How we're going to, at the end, increase your productivity, because I think it's a key question here. This kind of service, which I think will be unique, I mean, it is already in place with Masa. We have a long-term, partnership with Masa. And I think it's kind of a unique approach here to make sure that your equipment will be running safely and efficiently. The right product, the right lubricant, the right application in the right compartment at a defined schedule, making sure that the equipment is running safe and efficiently. By providing the service on site, we believe that we can obviously accommodate your time, your running time, and making sure that the equipment will be running during the hours that you need, and then using maybe weekends, overnight, to make sure that we can perform the service on site. Obviously, avoiding the equipment to come back maybe to your workshop. We'll adapt obviously the schedule to maximize, as I said, running hours. It's always, you know, the schedule that will be agreed in front with you to make sure that, you know, we have the best running hours for you. At the end, we'll also use the equipment to avoid server damage and breakdown. And we propose obviously additional service as appropriate as most convenient time. It's always a question of planning and deploying, you know, the resource when it makes sense for the equipment, maximizing the productivity. Switching gears, just to give you a flavor, what is a digital service book here? You have an example here that we have been developing over time. It's a big database of equipment, models, different types of equipment here, from excavator, dumpers, back-end loaders, excavator, etc., etc., etc. But we have a long list of equipment, even static, you know, equipment like generators. We have compartments, we have the product which is recommended, the color coding, which is very useful for operators not to mix product and to avoid mistakes. And at the end of the day, also we have behind the scene, the sump capacity and the drain interval recommended by us. The drain interval, by the way, is not necessarily the OEM drain interval. It could be something else to optimize the running hours and increase the productivity as well. We have a very good experience with Masri how to manage such, you know, let's say unique drain interval to maximize the equipment, you know, running hours. Coming to Masri, and now I will be talking on behalf of Masri. Obviously, if you need more information about Masri solution, we'll be obviously happy to give you. But what Masri is about, their core business today in the UAE is to provide end-to-end solution, fleet management. It's a quite interesting company. I mean, they have been there for a very long time. They have over 300 employees. They are managing 16,000 equipment on the ground from very wide range of equipment for light vehicles like trucks, heavy trucks, heavy off-highway equipment, generators. So it's a wide range of equipment that they have been able to manage. Over 1,000 customers, you know, that they have in the country. And what they focus very much is make sure that they can interfere, you know, come on the site when it makes sense for you to save time and at the end to save money. The way that they prepare, you know, the offer and the service, it's about obviously cost management. So they are very transparent. They will put on the piece, you know, on very much how much is going to cost the service. You know, there will be no surprise here. And making sure, obviously, it is done at a certain time that we have agreed with you in front. It's about control as well, because at the end of the day, this is what the beauty of such, you know, on-site services. There is no surprise, so you need to control when the job has been performed, you know, and all the key indicators you may want on the equipment itself. So this will be done through a customized platform or portal that Masri will be giving to you. So this is you know, in a nutshell, you know, the combination, as I said, of the best lubricant recommendation that we do, and we work side by side with Masri and make sure that we deploy the best service on the ground. If we need more information, obviously, we'd be very happy. You have here, and you will get this information, I guess, after the webinar, the direct contact of Ernest Berner, who is the operation director of Masri. So you have his direct email and phone number that you can contact, and obviously myself more on the lubricant side. And we'd be happy to answer to your questions if needed.
Thank you so much, Mr. Philippe.
You're welcome.
Very interesting content and slides. And for sure, I have also a couple of questions that I will also ask.
Yeah, my pleasure.
After, I mean, in the Q&A session. Right now, I would love to welcome Mr. Mohammed Amin Zammam to share, I mean, his slides and take us through his presentation. Mr. Mohammed, over to you.
Thank you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I will share now the presentation.
Yeah, sure.
The certification, inspection, auditing certification for the systems, knowledge and service, and training in general. So we are covering all those field, which is on the left side of the presentation, I mean slide, which is real estate. Let's start from manufacturing, mobility, real estate infrastructure, chemical process, consumer products, retail, energy, and healthcare medical services. We cover all the services beginning from planning, design, manufacturing, construction, operating, optimization, and decommissioning. Now, concerning and relative to our presentation today, third-party safety inspection and training operator for the fleets, which the fleets, I mean, covering the heavy equipments, lifting equipments, dump truckers, light equipments, and we are certifying, doing inspection per year, more than 150,000 equipment here in the region. And certifying more than 75,000 operators. Just I would like to say a small story. There is one of our very reputable client called Al Marwan. Maybe everybody knows him. He celebrated with Volvo newly. He celebrated one of the dumpers finished 1 million kilometer. 1 million kilometer without any failure, and we are doing the inspection for their equipment since 13 years now. So just I would like to highlight how much it's important, the inspection and the training for the fleet or for the operators. Now what we are doing exactly, our asset, your international advantage, we are doing more than 500,000 product certificate, more than 64,000 system certificate, I mean ISO certification, whatever is it, and more than 20,000 personal certificate, more than 160,000 participants. And also here, why equipment shall be certified and inspected or on a regular basis, and what's the benefit out of it? Number one, periodic and thorough inspection must comply with international and local legislation. Two, early detection of defects and malfunctioning lead to cost reduction and maintenance. Number three, reducing break time of the machinery and increase efficiency of the equipment. Number four, assurance that your fleet or equipment are intact, overall maximizing the fleet profitability, of course. And last thing, inspectors certify equipments for safe operation and reliability, which leads to ensure your customers' quality and reduction on complaints from customers in general. And now, reasons for the necessity of operators training. No operation allowed without certified operator. Two, early detection of any technical issue is very important. 85% of the accident due to unsafe act by operator, 85% global-wide of accident due to unsafe act by operator. Four, operator shall be competent to operate machine with no incident and accidents. Five, a reduction on breakdown time, which is very important. Six, reduction in fuel consumption. As much as the operator is competent, as much as he is reducing the consumption because he knows how to use his equipment or machines. Providing safe work environment, maintaining equipment regularly, and last not least, increase the reliability of the equipment. Now, suppose we need to talk about the training in general, what we are doing. There is training for every single training courses for every single equipment, whatever is it, if it is earth moving machines or lifting equipment. Here I have just an example for safe mobile crane operator. We do a course objective 2 days course. This 2 days course, there is just a small requirement. It is the operator shall be not less than 21 years of age. Number one. Number two, holding valid heavy machinery UAE driving license or whatever is it, it's Saudi Arabia or any country. He has to have this driving license. Then this is the content of the training. For the rigging and slinging, rigging and slinging rights and responsibility, terms and definitions of various. All those rigging and slinging day one content, we send it to the client to tell him exactly when the operator or the rigger, when he finished, what knowledge he is achieving. And after each training course, there is an examination as per the regulation of the region, and as per the regulation of each country in the GCC countries. And those after that we give the certificates, and you will find that the operator is competent enough to lead and let's say control the scene in the rigging and the slinging yard. This is day one. This is day one content, and this is day two content. Safe mobile crane operation. There is calculation inside this safe mobile crane operation, but it is very simple, just to show how he can calculate and treat the loads in general. Also, our engineers, now this is for the training. So each course of training, we send the client the content of the training, and we send the CV of the trainer, and also we send the examination paper, just to show them what we are going to do. Examination paper example, not the examination paper where we are going. And also we will send the course content before we start, and then the instructor will start training the people. Now, for the inspection activity, in the inspection activity, our engineers, all of them seniors, not less than 7 years, and there is a lot of seniors more than 15 years experience in the lifting equipment in general. Our engineers equipped with tools in addition to a checklist. Means to say that when they go to the inspection activity, they have to have an inspection list special for the equipment which they are going to do and to implement the inspection. And during the inspection, he will not, if he has this checklist, he will not miss any point or any element out of this checklist. Worthful to say that even the checklist, we are ready to provide it to our client, just to know in advance what we are going to test and what we are going to make inspection of. So at the end of the day, they will be able to understand our way of inspection. In addition, also we'll provide them enough information about the standard, international standard or norm, which we are using to comply with according to this checklist. So all the information our clients needed to know before we do the inspection, we are ready to do it. In general, what I want to say that we are going to collaborate 100% with tender, and also all the clients in general of tenders will be 100% treated in a different way. Also, there is a special discount, Mr. Mentioned early by you, thankfully. So this is very special discount to the clients everywhere, and whatever information they might need in future, we can provide before starting the inspection or the training. In general, I am ready to answer any question from anyone, and welcome. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad, for your valuable information you shared with us. And thank you again for the, very generous discount and the offer that you are offering to our partners. So I'll ask the first question. What is Tender's core value proposition for contractors, Yonas? And how are you able to channel, as you shared, 120 million dirhams worth of jobs since the launch of your platform?
All right, that's a fantastic question. Let me just clarify on the 120 million. That's just in the last couple of months and not since we started our platform, but using Tender Fleet Manager app, which is a supplier-facing app. Saying that the core proposition for contractors is bringing efficiency. I've been in construction for almost 15 years now, and I have seen how inefficient the construction industry is. If you just visit any contractor's office, how sophisticated they are, half of the room is full of papers. And there are so many miscommunications between the people in construction. Project managers always want the most production out of their equipment. Purchase managers want the least that they can get from the market. So there is miscommunication in there, for example. Purchase managers, their portfolio covers to control cost at the point of purchase. But for a project manager, his portfolio is to control cost at the end of the project. So production is what matters to him. So that is what we offer to contractors, to bring efficiency. When you bring efficiency to the processes of the project, you will bring profitability more.
Thank you. Perfectly said. Thank you, Yonas. Another question to Mr. Philippe. In your experience, what are the common mistakes equipment owners make that end up costing them a lot of money?
A lot. But I mean, if it's coming to the kind of the business of lubrication, I would say, obviously, as I said, the typical mistake that people will do, it's first of all, they might be selecting, the wrong product, but normally, okay, there will be a limited chance maybe to misuse lubricant, but it's an engine oil, hydraulic oil, whatever it is. So normally people are able to do the right, let's say, the right selection. But more important, when you apply the product on the equipment, there will be a risk of maybe mixing products, using the wrong product for the wrong application. I mean, people are not necessarily, the best, trained to make sure that that would happen. And then maybe down the road, it is all about maintaining the equipment, and making sure that you manage the scheduling of the equipment. You will be basically maybe checking with, I think Yonas mentioned it before, you will be sampling maybe the equipment with oil analysis. As we said, oil is typically the blood of the equipment. So we just take a blood sample, send it to a lab, and making sure, the equipment is running well. Down the road, at the end of the day, that will be changing the oil at the scheduled time. And it's a totally, as I said, the service package has the value because it's controlled. You know what you spend in front. You have no surprise at the end of the day. Yeah. And it will be done, obviously, at the time that makes more sense for the fleet owner or the fleet operator. So this is a typical things that as I said, we have to deal with that, and people are just doing it. But there's so much room for improvement, for more efficiency, and this is where there's kind of a service package comes all together. It makes a lot of sense.
Mm. What I can understand from you, Mr. Philippe, that each machine has a different recommended lubricant type.
Yeah.
Is there, a science behind that?
No, it's no science. We have a big database. In fact, we have been building over time. All the equipment builder or the OEM, the different compartments, we know exactly which product goes in which equipment. So it's not, something that, is rocket science. It's just to have the knowledge of and building the database. So we have a database, so we know exactly what we need to put. Now, again, the application, the way that you're going to apply the product in the equipment is also very important. Making sure that you're really using the product properly, and you change it at the right time. Because again, typical mistake, again, coming to your previous question, it's people are not changing oil at the right time. Sometimes changing maybe too early or too late. So if you're changing too early, you're maybe not using the product maybe properly, you're overspending money. If you're spending too late, you might have some damage, consequences on the equipment. Yeah. So again, but when it's coming to the product selection, we know what we are doing because we have this big database of equipment.
Thank you, Mr. Philippe. Question for Mr. Mohammed. Please walk us through, in the simplest way possible, the typical inspection process. I mean, in a very simple way.
I will give just an example for this. Like example for what we are inspecting in the earth-moving machinery. Inspection checklist contains a lot of things, more than 60 points. Those 60 points covering, number one, the historical data of the equipment, like monthly inspection records, maintenance records, repair per modification records, thorough examination records, others. The inspector has to know all those records. Number two is in general, guards, bear covers, external lights, housekeeping, safety and per warning decals labels, hand signals chart outside, paint condition, corrosion control, others. A driver cab, access, grab rails, steps, glass, a windshield wiper, door restraint, mirror, fire extinguisher, seat belt, parking brake, control identified, and also for inspected instruments per gauges, electrical switches per function, horn, and back up like this, lights, steering, engines, clutch, accelerator, brake, beacon lights, others. For transmission, vehicle structure, driveline, tire, wheel, air pressure, truck shoes, crowder, whatever. We cover everything. That's why the checklist is very important with the inspector, not to miss any point at all. And as I told you, any inspected equipment and certified, that's mean it is up, let's say 90 to 100% intact. Why? Because when we certify, that means there is no major comments, just minor comment. Minor comment never find an equipment without a minor comments. It will be fixed during the work. There is no stoppage at all, but the major, there is a lockdown for this.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We have a question for Mr. Yonas. What are the risks and the challenges that you face in tendered business? Do you guarantee the profitability in this business? If yes, how much percentage? This is the question.
All right, fantastic. So when we guarantee profitability, what we are saying is when your purchase decisions are based on when the equipment is cheap, nobody can guarantee the profitability because you will not know what the demand and the supply is. If your purchasing decision is purely on demand without knowing whether there is a reserve supply able to satisfy that demand, you will not get profitability. But when you understand the supply trend and the demand trend and see where the supply deficit is, we can guarantee the profitability of your fleet. As a technology company, what we do is collect and analyze data from the market. And that data shows it. And when your decisions are based on real and good data, the profitability will be guaranteed. So the risks would be just simply buying because it's cheap that you find it in resale market, or because somebody told you that this equipment will be needed and high demand in the future. So avoiding those risks will be based on good and big data.
Okay, perfect. And for sure, for the rental process, I mean, you guarantee the profitability of the rate. I mean, based on the rate they submit to us.
That is on the hands of the suppliers, because suppliers put the rates themselves. As I showed in the illustration, in the demonstration rather, the suppliers put their own rate by themselves. So the market will regulate whether you will get a job if you are putting high rate, or if it is lower rate, will you get the profitability. So it's completely in the hands of the suppliers. So it's not us who guarantees the profitability. It is a marketplace and will guarantee the profitability by itself.
Thank you, Yonas. Mr. Philippe, the question is, you told us that the digital transformation is not only the source of profitability. Then what are the other sources and means to increase profitability of these businesses and equipment? Please explain in short.
Yeah. I'm not sure, maybe I place the digital transformation. I think digital transformation or digital space is for us just a support to make our operation more safe and more efficient, especially when we do recommend products, making sure that the latest information is always available for the service provider. So for us, digital is just a way of, as I said, to streamline processes, making sure that you have always updated information for the equipment. What is, I think, where we can gain, it's about reducing the cost. At the end of the day, I think, it was mentioned by Yonas, it's how do we manage and ensure that we can manage the cost. The cost, obviously, the cost that you spend on the equipment itself, which I think, if you have better maintenance practices and more regular and very well defined, the right lubricant, then you have a bigger chance, that you control your cost. And on top of that, you don't have, the resource that are basically needed anymore. At the end of the day, this is, you can afford to basically just, provide the service that you need for the equipment that you are using or renting. So this is for you, it's, I would say it's obvious outsourcing the service to a third party will give a bigger chance not to do it yourself, and saving a lot of resource and a lot of sometimes resource that you don't use because they are basically, not on the side for managing, the equipment. So I think at the end of the day, outsourcing the service, and it's only, what we propose here, it's only about servicing fleet. It's what we want to do with Tendered. It's combining, as I said, Masri and Mobil together with a service, and that's it, the package.
Thank you, Mr. Philippe. A question to you, Mr. Mohammed. What's the main benefit of having TUV SUD inspection versus others in the market? What sets you apart from others?
You want to say why to choose TUV SUD?
Yes.
Yeah, TUV SUD ranked #1 in the market in lifting equipment, elevator, earth-moving machines, and construction inspection activity. TUV SUD Middle East, very well insured company. Insurance covers more than 20 million euros. Our inspection services highly effective in accident prevention. All TUV SUD inspectors are senior engineers with more than 10 years as a mean value of experience. Inspectors very educated to apply the risk assessment shortly and effectively in the scene, during the inspection. So they will not come back with any disaster. But because that during the inspection, they are using the machine in different ways, just to be sure that it is safe, it is good, it is intact. So maybe during the inspection, we'll have any accidents. So they know how to do the risk assessment shortly and effectively without losing time. Engineers call and response immediate. Our certificates protected by a hologram and the QR code. That's mean it's well known and nobody to be forged. And everybody know it. Reports, certificates providing are including details information about minor comments. So there is a lot of competitors that they never put the comments, but we put the comments just to show how much how much precisely we did the inspection. And for the reports, in case the machines fail, for the reports providing all including details information about the major and minor comments, in addition to the recommendations. So I think this makes TUV SUD a little bit different than others during the last 18 years in GCC countries. And also the last, what I want to say that this is special offer I am giving to all those clients of Tendered. We will give 40% discounts, and it is real discounts. We will show and it's real discounts, and we will show the highest collaboration with you really to increase the ability for rental for the equipment rental in general.
Very kind of you. Thank you so much. Just a very small question.
Sure.
Is there any restrictions or legal issues for inspections or certification?
If there is no inspection certificates, you cannot work at all. In all GCC countries.
Yeah.
No way this equipment to proceed or to work without a certificate. But now we are talking about the authentication of this certificate, how much it is good and reflecting a real inspection. There is some companies they are giving certificates like this. It's very easy.
Sure.
But TÜV will not do that at all. It will be a very detailed inspection, and we will give certificate. That means it's intact. If we are giving report, that means something should be fixed before there is that means there is a major comments.
Yeah, perfect.
So that's what we want to do.
And do you usually do it for, the whole fleet, or the client can come to you with one equipment, or with,
the whole fleet? We have many clients. We are doing the inspection for their fleets, the whole fleets. But sometimes there's individuals coming to us, and they have one equipment, two equipment, three equipments. Yes, we are doing the inspection.
Sure.
So we are doing a huge amount of inspection per year here in the UAE and Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, we have five offices spread in Saudi Arabia.
Perfect.
And here in the UAE, we have 3. In Qatar, we have, we are there in Bahrain and also in Oman. I don't know. I think you are there in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, we are there.
But I don't know in Qatar. I don't know.
Yeah, we are in Saudi Arabia right now. And for sure, the discount will be valid for Saudi clients, right?
Yes, sir, because everywhere we have engineers. You don't need to ask for an engineer and we will send it to you after 4 days. No, the same day if you want.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. The next question that I think we can take a couple of questions more. Yonas, an interesting question I received, that the equipment rental industry is known to love paperwork. So what are your plans to digitize this industry, and to what benefit?
How many hours do you have, Suhail?
You have 2 minutes.
I'll try. Yes, the equipment industry, well, I wouldn't use the word love, but it's ridden with paperwork. As I mentioned in the previous answer, you go to any equipment rental or contractor is full of papers. And the processes that it's not a plan, we are already doing something about it. As I mentioned in the presentation, we have created a marketplace. Currently, if I am a purchase manager, what I do is, which I have done before, by the way, what I do is go out and collect at least 3 minimum quotations from different suppliers. And then I prepare a comparison sheet on Excel and present it to the manager for approval. That takes a lot of time. By the time that I get approval and come back and check with the lowest bid, the equipment might already be gone. But in the marketplace, you can simply go there, choose the equipment that you want, check the equipment in terms of type, age of the equipment, and whether documents are available, and different metrics, choose the equipment, and then just check out. Before you do, what you can do on the marketplace itself is you can actually generate a comparison sheet. So you will know the machine that you selected, how does it compare with similar machines in the marketplace? So it is faster, easier, and more efficient. While you are talking about paperwork, I can't stop talking about at least one more painful point in construction industry, and that is timesheet. That's really, really painful for contractors, painful for suppliers. Timesheet or time cards are how many hours the machine worked per day. So it's done in paper. At the end of the month, contractors spend a lot of energy and time, about 10 to 15 days, depending on the number of projects, maybe 10 people as well. 10 to 15 days just to calculate the number of hours the equipment worked. Just to find out how many hours an equipment worked at site takes that much time. By using TenderTrack, our platform, there is a Timekeeper app, once the equipment, the timekeeper who is at the site enters the number of hours worked, that is transparent to the project manager, to the purchase manager, and to the equipment owner. And this is a critical information specifically for project manager, because at any given point in a week or 2 weeks, he can see this timekeeper data and make a judgment whether the equipment that he has deployed at the site is performing as well as he planned. So he can take preemptive action instead of being surprised at the end of the month after 10 days, getting a calculation and getting surprised. So it is vitally important for contractors to digitize the most time-consuming parts of the process. And we are there to help. The digital platforms are already out there, being used by contractors and suppliers.
Fantastic. Thank you, Yonas. I have a question without, asking any panelists to answer. I mean, I will open it to you to answer. Are equipments need only preventative maintenance or require corrective maintenance also? So I would like to...
let me start with that. Absolutely, it needs corrective maintenance for sure. Why I said in the presentation to do preventive maintenance is because it will reduce the number of corrective maintenance that you would do at the site. And preventive maintenance, I think, as Philippe mentioned, can be done off work hours. However, corrective maintenance are being done during the downtime hours that we intend to rectify anyway. So absolutely it is required, it's a must that you have to do, but doing more preventive maintenance will reduce the number of corrective maintenance that you have to do.
Great, thank you. Mr. Philippe, would you like to add to that?
I cannot agree more than that, it's why this, the scheduling of the operation is very important to be agreed. And obviously the control as well, making sure that it's happening as planned. So this is where obviously the digital platform here can help, because you can basically check if the maintenance has been performed on time. As I said, it's preventive maintenance. When it's coming to lubrication, it is a must. If today you're doing something else, you're out of the game. So I think for us, it's obvious that I was telling about the sampling. Sampling it could be a good way of managing the preventive maintenance. As I said, when you have from the blood of the machine, you have some alarms might come, from what you can get from the labs. And this is also a good way of telling to the customer that, something maybe is cooking in the equipment, and we can basically stop the equipment before a big failure. So this is another way of say managing preventive maintenance is through this regular, oil sampling.
Yeah, thank you so much. If I talk about this point itself, the question is, what are the preventative and corrective measures taken in the situation of emergency breakdown for any inspected or certified equipment? I think you answered this already, but we can answer this in a very short answer.
Well, the preventive maintenance are the ones that I have shown, and Philippe mentioned. Just doing those things regularly will extend the lifetime of your equipment. So those are known and regular maintenances. Corrective maintenance are different, because for different equipment and what is being breakdown, you will not know until it happens. With that, what I would offer is what I offered already in the presentation. We are doing a particular technical workshop to address technical questions. So I would urge the questioner to join the technical meeting. He will get a lot of benefit out of it.
Perfect. I'll take one more question. And I would like to ask, what are your recent innovations done to your rental fleet which can satisfy the customer more? Like, have you done any R&D recently to improve your fleet, which other rental companies have not done yet?
Yes, absolutely. As a technology company, that's all what we are. Collecting data, analyzing data, and doing research and development. So what differentiates us from other equipment rental companies is they don't have that much data. So getting data from the market, analyzing it, and offering to clients to make decisions based on that data. What equipments do they have to own? What equipments do they have to rent? And which equipments are performing well at the site, even though they are similar types of equipment, understanding using telematics, which equipments are performing well and which equipments are not performing well, and giving them an information on to correct that defect. So we can give, as I mentioned at the last, we can give contractors and equipment owners the benefits of the data that we have collected over the years in terms of demand, in terms of supply, and in terms of maintenances. As I mentioned, telematics gives you a predictive maintenance alerts. So you will know when you have to do the maintenance and decrease the downtime. On R&Ds, we'll be happy to share those information at a later stage as well.
Actually, I think we have too many other questions I received. I don't think that we can answer them all. But as I promised earlier, so we will look at all these questions and get back to you and address them, one by one. So before I close, I would like to ask each of the panelists, in like 30 seconds if you have any comments or anything that you want to leave the webinar with, if you have any comments.
Well, let me start with that shortly. For suppliers and equipment owners, it's vitally critical that they increase the profitability of their existing fleet using the maintenances and access to cost, and that is digitization. So they have to go digital, because you can't increase the number of jobs, the access that you have for a number of jobs by simply thinking that I'm more experienced and I have connections in the market. To get more access, you have to go digital, because it will make your fleet available for thousands of clients at the same time. When suppliers want to expand and buy new equipment, I would urge all of them to make those critical decisions based on real data. And we are happy to share this data with them. With that, thank you all so much.
Thank you, Yonas. Mr. Philippe, Mr. Ahmed, any?
Yeah, so thank you for today. I think what I've said, before, there's, we believe that there's a lot of room for improvement, the way that, operators managing today their fleet. But I think, considering the difficult time that we are all facing, it's a kind of focus on core business. And I think, as I said, the kind of a solution that we would like to offer for tender is something I think unique. It's unique because obviously you can service equipment on site, but considering the wide range of equipment that we are dealing with, this is why it becomes unique. As I said, remember that the lubricant is a blood of the equipment, and then keeping your blood in good shape, making sure that this is controlled and changed time to time, makes your operation, your equipment safer and more efficient. At the end of the day, you have a lot of opportunities to make more money out of it. So
perfect. Thank
you very much, Suhail.
Thank you so much. Mr. Mohammed, anything?
Yes, sir. It is very small comments. That's rather than periodic and thorough inspection must comply with the international and local legislation, the most important things is the early detection of the defects of the equipments in general, which reduce the break time and increase the profitability. This is very important to say and to think about it and to analyze those data. When you do the inspection, then it will lead to very good profit in future to reduce the break time.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Again, I would like to thank you, Mr. Yonas, Mr. Philippe, and Mr. Mohammed for, the interesting information and for the kind and generous offers that you shared with us for the partners and clients. I just want to remind everyone that the online training workshop with Mr. Roger will be available. Please, I mean, if you want, you can register. We will be sending you with the email after this webinar, the link to register. I also remind you that we will announce the winners for the mobile iPhone 11 after this webinar, after doing the raffle for all the attendees. For the goodie bag, again, thank you so much for the, for the discounts and for your offers to our partners and our clients. And again, for sure, we will meet you soon with a new webinar, with a new information that we would like to share. Thank you again for your for having you with us, dear panelists, and thanks for everyone to join this webinar. Thank you and see you soon, inshallah.